from the phone if that's.
Yeah, that would be better.
Okay, this better?
Yeah, that seems to be better.
Is this better? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
perfect.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the same request we've had the last couple of years. You run a pick your own apples in the fall, September and October. So the request is for the one-day liquor license for weekends starting September 6th through the end of October. The only additional day would be Monday, Columbus Day.
I am familiar with this request. I have no questions for you, Mr. Shartner. I don't know about you, Kate.
I also have no questions. I look forward to it every year.
Yeah. Ditto. So I would entertain a motion to approve the request for 17 one-day liquor licenses for Shartner Farm for the sale of beer and wine only at 279 West Berlin Road from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on basically all of the weekend days in September and October, in addition to Monday, Columbus Day / Indigenous Peoples Day.
Second,
Okay, roll call. Kate?
yes.
And I'm also a yes. So we'll get those signed and we'll look forward to the events at Shartner Farm.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks,
You
Bob.
too. Okay, next up on our agenda, we have a couple of event requests. One of them from Bikes Not Bombs to use Bolton Roads for their Century Challenge fundraising bike ride on Sunday, September 7th, 2025. I don't know whether anybody from Bikes Not Bombs is here to speak to that request. Jenny, do you see anybody?
I don't see him in here. He did confirm he was coming. His name is Sam.
We're a couple minutes early. I will just note that this is also a request that we have seen in the past. And was to hold a 2025 Ride to Defeat ALS bike ride using roadways in Bolton on Saturday, September 20th. Is there a representative for that ride here yet?
Mike is also not here, although he did not confirm, nor did he reach out to the police chief at this time. So I don't know if he's away on vacation.
Okay,
I just resent the link to him now.
great. Well, how about this? Do we have somebody from the Posh Pup here?
We do.
Okay, so I think it might make sense to consider that next request since we have a representative from the Posh Pup. So this would be, we have a request for a waiver to dimensional requirements for the placement of a sign at 58 Main Street for the Posh Pup. And
I do see that Sam from
Bikes Not Bombs.
the Bikes Not Bombs did just arrive.
All right, sorry about that then. Let's do that. Let's do that. Sam, please introduce yourself and explain the event.
Oh yeah, hey guys. Thanks for meeting. I'm Sam. I work at Bikes Not Bombs. Um, yeah, it's basically like a two route event. And Bolton is going to be part of the longer route because it goes from Boston and then further out. Um, it's part of the 105-mile route. And riders would just be going through a couple different Bolton streets during the ride. It's a non-competitive ride, so it's not going to be like cyclists, trying to get to the front of the group, um, and potentially, causing, I don't know, some blockage of roads or whatnot. It's just going to be like riders going on the side of the road, kind of like normal bikers would if they're going through the city. Um, yeah, they're not going to be stopping for any rest stops. Those are going to be in Concord, so kind of in the middle of the ride, or first third of the ride and then second third of the ride. But through Bolton, it's mainly just going through on the road. Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to know? I have like there's a certificate of insurance for Bolton, and then like the exact streets that we're going on. Um,
Yep. We've in our packet to prepare us for tonight, we have an indication that we've received the insurance certificate and also that the map uh, has been the map route request was received.
Police approval was also received after the date of the packet.
That's what I was actually about
yeah.
to ask you. Um,
Yeah, I was just looking at that email with I think it's oh yeah, Luke Hamburger. He approved yesterday, August 6th at 1:53. Um and then yeah, I sent him the turn by turn directions as well as the route map with like the whole 105-mile route. Um
and so
yeah.
that's been reviewed and approved by our police chief. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Kate, any questions from you?
Nope.
I know this is an event that we've seen a number of years, so I think it's great you're bringing it back to Bolton. And I would entertain a motion to approve Bikes Not Bombs request to use Bolton roads for their Century Challenge fundraising bike ride on Sunday, September 7th, 2025.
So moved.
And I'll do a roll call. Kate,
Yes.
and I'm also a yes. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right. See ya. Bye.
See ya.
And someone did just join, named Kathy's iPad. I'm just wondering if that might be Mike Faragher. Maybe not. So you might proceed to the Posh Pop like you were planning.
What'd you do? I joined the meeting. I don't
So,
know.
sorry, just for a benefit, Kathy's iPad, could you identify yourself for the record?
Hi, I'm just a new resident turning into the meeting.
Oh, okay. There was somebody who had a request and we were waiting for them to sign in. I just wanted to make sure that you weren't them. That's all.
Okay, I'm just gonna put myself off of video.
Perfect. Yeah, feel free. Thanks. Okay, so let's jump over to the 58 Main Street request for dimensional waiver to dimensional requirements for the placement of the sign for the Posh Pup. And that would be, I think, Scott who would be speaking to that.
Yes.
Hi, please
Hi, how are you?
welcome and introduce yourself if you wouldn't mind.
Hi, I'm Scott. I'm the owner of the Posh Pup.
Nice to meet you. Congratulations on your opening.
Thank you.
So can you just explain for anybody who may be tuning in the nature of this request?
Sure, we're requesting a waiver for a sign by the road on 117. Um, the setback, I believe the Blylar is 20 feet from the road, and we're requesting at least 8 to 10 feet from the road, as 20 feet from the road would end up in the woods. And it's tough on this property because the other side near Bolton Woods Way is conservation land. So we're just trying to figure out good placement for the sign, where to put it. We're open to ideas. I spoke with Randy from the DPW, and he suggested putting it somewhere on the east side of the property. So I'm just, trying to explore some options and figuring out the best placement for the sign.
So was the specific location suggested by the DPW director something that would seem to work from your perspective, or
So he didn't really give me a placement on where. No one really is giving me an idea where to put it. But he did say like east side of the property is best. My only concern with what I proposed was that's the exit of the property. So to me, it wouldn't make sense to put it far east on the property because it's kind of confusing to people if, you see a sign by the exit, it says do not enter. There's signs there, but to me, it's kind of a little bit confusing. I thought maybe putting it in the center of the property. I just don't know exactly, the conservation parameters on that, on where to put it.
Yeah.
But again, if you're gonna go back 20 feet, there's a dip in the property line, so you're gonna end up not even being able to see the sign.
Okay. So, my understanding of the materials that we reviewed prior to the meeting is that um, if if we were to approve or recommend placement of the sign um, on the side of the road that doesn't involve conservation land, and it would maybe be, per your preference, more toward the center, that would still fall in the right of way as it's sort of defined for that part of the land. Is that correct, Marie?
Yes, it's a
Okay.
very large right of way.
Yeah. And so I think the question for myself and Kate is whether we would approve a waiver and allow for the placement of the sign in that right of way in the center of the stretch of property as opposed to very close to the exit, right? Which I think you were like, it can't be too close to the entry because of some wetland considerations. It can't be too close to the exit because of potential customer confusion. And so something more central would be a good solution.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Like I said, I'm very flexible. I just need a sign by the road, just, because you can't see the building really from the trees. So I'm open to any suggestions.
Okay, so I guess a question, Marie, for you, given your working relationship with the DPW director, is that if we approved um, the placement of a sign in the right of way, could we still have a step where Randy makes some sort of recommendation about where within the right of way would be
Yes.
best from his perspective?
Yes, that would be optimal, actually. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so I'll just be clear about like what would be a good outcome from my perspective is an outcome that serves the business needs of the business, but also takes into account any sort of road safety or, DPW operation interference. Like we don't want to run into that, but I am in favor of approving a waiver that would allow for the placement of the sign in the right of way. And in addition, I think Concom should sign off on the location, assuming it's still within their jurisdiction. But I don't know that it would be if it's on the other side of the road.
By virtue of the tree and ground cover, some tree removal or bush removal would still be necessary, so
Okay.
filing would be advised.
Okay. Kate, do you have any?
Yeah, I have no issue with it being in the right of way. I want to welcome businesses to Bolton. I don't want to make their lives harder than it needs to be. Just as long as the DPW doesn't have any significant issues and we're sensitive to, snow removal and all of those other issues. But I would like to make it easier for businesses, especially in this particular sort of area where it really is hard to see from the road. But I do also have a question, which is this was a request for dimensional, for a waiver of the dimensional size. So are we not doing the dimensional part or we just kind of talking about placement at the moment?
My understanding was that it was simply the placement, but it was within maybe the part of the bylaw that also deals with dimensional things. But Jenny or Marie, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
So, reduction of setback.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just listed on the agenda as waiver for dimensional requirements.
Is the offset from the road, is that listed in dimensional requirements perhaps? Let me just take a peek.
I don't know. But conceptually, I have no issue with finding a mutually acceptable place in the right of
Yeah.
way.
I mean, I think this is covered by the agenda item because it also mentions placement of a sign. So this is about placement, so I'm okay with that. Not to belabor this, but the last question is like, if we give this approval to the concept, I would love to not have to have the business come back to us unless there is some sort of breakdown in communication with the DPW director, which I don't anticipate, but can we just assume that if we approve that the sign can be placed in the right of way, that then the DPW director and the Concom will be informed and consulted, and it will only come back to us if there's some sort of impasse?
So a motion subject to approval by DPW.
DPW and Concom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I will make a motion to approve a waiver of the dimensional requirements for the placement of the sign at 58 Main Street for the Posh Pup to allow the placement of a sign within the town's right of way, subject to approval by DPW and Concom.
And I'll second that. Roll call, Kate.
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. All right, well, thank you very much and best of luck.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Welcome to Bolton.
Thank you.
Okay, and next, I'm assuming Mike has not joined, so let's move on to our next request, which is from the Bolton Conservation Trust regarding placement of a wooden sign. And I see Drew Shaba is here. Hi, Drew.
Hello.
Nice to see you. Do you want to just briefly explain this request?
Sure. We recently acquired a property off of Warner Road that connected to a property that we had already owned. There was a community trail that wasn't necessarily officialized, but since we acquired the land from the former owner in Harvard, we now have like an official trail that is permanently protected. So I would like to designate, this larger area as protected woodlands called Northwoods, and that is what our sign is going to designate at the road, at the Warner Road trailhead. This is right past the Drumlin Hill Road intersection as you're going north into Harvard. I had some content that was submitted with the sign permit. But yeah, certainly open to any questions.
Yep, we got your materials. Thank you. I had no questions. Kate, I don't know if you did.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, looks good. Thank you.
All right.
So motion, please.
Sure, I will make a motion to approve the request from Bolton Conservation Trust to place a 55 by 14-inch wooden sign indicating Northwoods Conservation Area at the trailhead located at Warner Road.
And I'll second that. Roll call, Kate.
Yes.
And I'm also a yes.
All right.
Thanks again, Drew.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a good one.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Jenny, you'll alert me if anybody for the ALS bike ride arrives. Okay, great. Well, I saw that Mary Chumo from the Public Ways Safety Committee had joined. So hi, Mary, if you're able to unmute yourself, I think we have 2 items on our agenda related to your work on the Public Ways Safety Committee.
Yes, thank you. I don't see Sylvia here yet, so we'll wait on her. Yes, I'm here to for a request for 2 additional stop signs on Berlin Road at the Berlin South Bolton intersection, very problematic intersection. Based on the July 23rd memo that went out to the select board. So over the years, we have tried many things to try to make that intersection safe. And it just doesn't seem to be working. There was an accident last year that was pretty severe. There was a lot of damage to the vehicle, minor injuries, and there have been 3 reported injuries and two-car collision accidents in the past 8 years. And so in conferring with Randy at DPW and Chief Hamburger, they felt that to make that a 3-way stop would probably be the best solution for that intersection. And interesting enough, I just spoke to somebody today who 2 days ago saw a near miss at that intersection. So,
So first of all, I just want to say thank you for the memo and for the work that went into this. I want to make it just clear for anybody who's tuning in, and it's what you already said, but that the work that the Public Ways Safety Committee did in considering this and putting forward this request was done in coordination with our DPW and our Chief of Police. Right? So that's an accurate statement, right, Mary?
yes.
Question, and you may not know the answer, but maybe Marie does, but what would be the process if at some point the Public Ways Safety Committee or residents or whomever thought that these signs actually didn't make sense to take them out at a future date? I'm assuming that really doesn't ever happen because once a stop sign's there, people get habituated and it can be dangerous to remove them. But do you know?
Don't know.
I don't see any reason why you can't remove signs. A while back, our committee looked at all the yield signs in town with recommendations on whether they should remain yield signs or should be changed to stop signs. And a few of them were changed. I would imagine it would just be removing it from traffic rules and order.
Okay.
Marie, would you think that would be? You're muted.
Marie, are you able to unmute?
Yeah.
You didn't want to hear me typing. It seems, that one would petition with a certain number, and I don't know the number, to the local Traffic Safety Commission to revoke the placement, but
Okay.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, no, the only reason why I'm even asking this question is because not every Bolton resident follows the meetings of the Public Ways Safety Committee, and not every Bolton resident follows the meetings of the Select Board. And so to some people, these stop signs may come as a surprise when they get installed. I guess I just want to say the only feedback I've ever received about this has been in favor of stop signs to make this area safer. I haven't ever received feedback suggesting that stop signs here would be a bad idea. But I'm just making the point that there is an avenue for that feedback to be made later. So anyway, that's my only point.
So, lesson to be learned were the stop signs that went in at South Bolton and Century Mill, at Spectacle Hill. And there was quite a bit of outrage over the implementation of those signs or installation of those signs. And what the Select Board did at the time was they installed them on a trial basis of 6 months to see how they would work. They ended up staying. So what I was going to ask the Select Board tonight is I highly recommend that some sort of notice get out there about these new stop signs, whether it's through town emails or an article in the Bolton Independent, to notify people that this is happening, if it does happen.
That's a really great point. Kate, do you have any comments or reflections?
Yes, I do. Amen and alleluia to this. I drive this on a daily basis. I cannot tell you the number of times I have nearly been killed. No matter how carefully I creep around that corner. I have, like Brian, heard nothing but people asking me, why aren't there stop signs at this intersection? So I'm highly supportive of it. And I agree getting good public messaging out there that this is going to go into effect. We can plaster it on Facebook, we can do the emails, we've got the newspaper, so I think that's also a great idea, but I cannot support this strongly enough.
Thank you. I will say really what the best thing to do would be to redesign that intersection. But because it's an angle intersection, I was talking to Randy about it, and it would be really, really problematic to try to figure out how to turn that into a T, not to mention the cost involved in that. So, this is probably the next best thing.
Yeah, and
Okay.
also, if I remember correctly, it wasn't that many years ago that the stop sign we do have there was still a yield sign. So that one stop sign that we do have at that intersection is, I think, within the last 10 years, if I remember correctly. And we all got used to that and we understand it. And I'm sure people will get used to new stop signs here as well.
Okay.
So I noticed like our agenda item is to consider the recommendation to make this a three-way stop. So I mean, I think it seems pretty clear that there's support for the board for that recommendation. I guess just in terms of actual next steps, I think some notice process to residents and especially people in that area. I think sort of deferring to both the DPW director and the chief of police on what the timeline for actually getting the signs in would make sense. I don't have strong feelings about whether we should bake in a trial period or if it should just be these are going in. Kate, I don't know if you have thoughts about that.
Yeah, I don't think this intersection needs a trial period.
Yeah, and I mean the fact is if people really have concerns, there would be a process later on to potentially reverse course. But again, this is like the only thing I've ever heard about this is a desire for more safety at that location.
Yeah.
So I guess it would be a motion to approve the recommendation to make the Berlin/South Bolton Road intersection a three-way stop, subject to the public notification and installation timing plans of the DPW and police chief.
A second.
Okay, roll call. Kate?
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well.
Great, thank you.
And please
Thank you.
extend our thanks to the committee as well for all that work.
Okay, will do. Thanks a lot.
And then your next item, Mary, I see Sylvia has joined. You can unmute yourself.
Hey everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Mary, did you want to introduce Sylvia? And
Yes, so Sylvia's relatively new to Bolton. She wants to get more involved in what's going on in the town, and she reached out to us. And we're really excited to have her, and I definitely applaud her for wanting to know what's going on and being involved in the town.
that's awesome. Sylvia, please
Thank you,
introduce
Mary.
yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So my name is Sylvia Hagendorn. I moved with my husband to Bolton in December of last year. I have a 4-month-old baby at home right now. So we are new to the town, but we obviously wanted to get involved and meet the community. I'm also a real estate agent. I love meeting people. I'm getting involved. So this is a way of me trying to get to know my neighbors and trying to get involved in the community.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
Really glad that you're jumping right in. And appreciative that you're willing to serve the community in this capacity.
Absolutely.
Kate?
Oh, welcome to Bolton. Thank you for being willing to serve. It's great to
Thank
see somebody, like Brian said, just jump right in. We're really working on increasing volunteerism, so it's great to have somebody reach out and try to find a space for themselves in our community.
Thank you.
So just for clarity's sake, this is we're being asked to consider a recommendation to appoint Sylvia Hagendorn to the Public Ways Safety Committee open seat, which expires in 2028. So I would make a motion that we do recommend Sylvia's appointment.
Second,
Okay, roll call. Kate?
yes.
And I'm also a yes.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Okay, I am not optimistic that we're going to get anybody from ALS, the Defeat ALS bike ride. We've seen this request in the past, so I am comfortable moving forward with an approval of this request, unless Jenny or Marie chimes in to say that there's something crucial that's missing, but I didn't notice that in our packet.
Pending receipt of insurance certificate and approval of the police chief.
Oh, so the
We-
sheet that I thought we had gotten.
We do have the insurance certificate. However, Mr. Farricker has not yet reached out to the police chief.
Okay. All right. So, Kate, do you want to make the conditional motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 Ride to Defeat ALS bike ride using roadways in Bolton on Saturday, September 20th, 2025, subject to receipt of approval of the chief of police.
Second. Roll call, Kate,
Yes.
and I'm also a yes. Okay. Now I think we can move right into our town administrator report.
The short updates regarding 2 ongoing projects are as follows. There's some tentative occupancy dates for the Alta Neshoba project. The first residential building, Building 1, would be seeking a certificate of occupancy at the very beginning of December. The successive residential buildings would be in January of 2026 and then March of 2026. In the background, Alta is formalizing an easement with RCAP for the new COA parking spaces that they have built. I've also put in a highlighted notice there, and there will be additional outbound publicity. Interested tenant applicants should be contacting the town planner at townofbolton.com. You will be put on a list of interested applicants and will be personally updated as well as the blanket update. Likewise, one could call the town planner at the number 978-779-3308. For the roundabout, the National Grid utility work started last week, and we are aware of National Grid's forward schedule, just not the forward schedule for the other associated utilities. I provided the board the updated schedule for the roundabout, which basically indicates they'll be remobilizing in the spring of 2026. I'm continuing to monitor for the DCAM land home rule petition, as well as keeping an eye out for an approval from the Attorney General's office regarding the multiple bylaw changes that passed at town meeting, and following up with Senator Kennedy and Representative Hogan's office regarding our home rule alcohol petition filing status. And the high school project is on track. I've provided the schedule. The 3 items in the bars are sort of ongoing, watchful, and watchful waiting for the MVP project, for Bush Mill Road stream crossing, and the Route 117 culvert design. As an update on staffing, the library welcomed Mackenzie Dreyer in mid-July as the part-time children's programming librarian. Folks may be aware that there had been notices regarding a boil water for the library, and people I know were aware of the library's administrative closure. There'd been a subsequent repair to a conduit, and then sampling is ongoing. The library has been terrifically accommodating, as has the public safety building tenants. We're still awaiting additional testing and results. And since I had sent this out to the board, can give you a heads up that additional tests will be performed next Monday and Tuesday, so the boil water order remains. A note to interested residents that Park and Rec's camp at Resolute still has openings for next week's programs. If one wishes more information or to register, the website at Bolton MA MyRec is the way to do this. As of Wednesday morning, all 1,132 dogs residing in Bolton are licensed and paid.
Wow.
No notices. Yes, kudos are well deserved by the town clerk's office and the animal control officer. Just another notice that nomination papers for the upcoming special election, which will be on Monday, October 6th, are available at the town hall at the town clerk's office. The last day to obtain nomination papers and to submit your completed papers is Monday, August 18th. As a heads up for the board, the Neshoba Associated Boards of Health is trying to maximize the use of multiple towns' small amounts of opioid settlement funds. They have drafted an RFP and hoping that they can coordinate by hiring one individual to do outreach and programmatic analysis for all towns that would be affected. The board will be presented with an IMA, intermunicipal agreement. I'd also included this under separate cover. And as a heads up, this will be on the next meeting agenda, ideally for the approval of the IMA, and then Neshoba will be releasing the request for proposals from qualified entities. Wanted to provide an update that the town will be migrating to @bolton-ma.gov and the Microsoft environment. That'll be occurring later this month. For folks who are used to sending messages to the town hall, library, COA, DPW staff, there will be a relay. So we will, gently suggest that you eventually update your address book, but things will continue. So no crazy worries at this time. And likewise, the town will be moving forward with a website revamp. It'll take about 4 months and should look a bit snazzier and easy to read, easy to access information. That'll be starting in late August, and you'll notice the new website at the beginning of 2026. Also wanted to, the topic of websites, give a shout out to the library. If you've seen the new revised Bolton Public Library website, which is a thing of beauty, this was designed by the assistant director. And keep your eyes out for an ad survey, regardless of whether you use the transfer station, don't use the transfer station, or use it intermittently. The ad hoc committee is working on drafting an online survey. Under good financial news, the Senate sent the Chapter 90 bond bill to the governor for signing. She has not yet signed it, but all expectations point to yes. Bolton is slated to receive $632,000, which sounds like an astonishing amount of money. The caveat on that, and I don't want to be the depressing entity, though, is this is approximately how much of our Chapter 90 money that we put towards the roundabout. And we have 60 some road miles. The cost of minor rehab for, say, a half mile of your average road is about 90,000. But we're not complaining. Delighted to have the money.
Yeah.
And it looks like an astronomical sum. It's a lot of money. It doesn't go very far. Likewise, an update that the end of year closeout and financial filings with the state are in process. One thing that we can see is that the permit fees for the high school, as well as Alton Neshoba, had offset the deficit as our projected fiscal 25 cannabis excise was nowhere near meeting expectations. More news on that at the next meeting.
Okay,
That's all.
great, thank you. Kate, any questions or follow-up for Marie about any of those items?
No, thank you.
So we are gonna roll into select board business. I know that we usually have a little bit of time on the agenda for public comment. We didn't include that on tonight's agenda, but because when we take in public comment, we don't actually deliberate or act on anything, I'm comfortable with just briefly inviting anybody from the public who has joined tonight's meeting and wished to make any public comment, that now would be the time to raise your hand and take yourself off mute and turn on your camera and make your public comment. But again, as a reminder, we can't respond or deliberate or take any action on a public comment at this time. We can just receive it. So, Mr. Levin, if you had a public comment. Maybe you're just waving. Okay. So I'm not seeing any other requests to Mr. Levin. If you were trying to make a public comment, if you can unmute yourself and put your camera on, that would be great. Otherwise, we're going to proceed with other select board business. First, any public service announcements from you, Kate?
I have a couple. They're just all fabulous developments in town, which I think most people are aware of. Oak and Orchard has opened at the old Fotini's. So that is fabulous. And in addition, Out of the Woods has opened behind the Bolton Bean. So there are two brand new places for all of us to check out and spend our money and keep our money local. So I hope everybody goes. I have been to one so far and not the other, and it was a lovely experience. And I'm looking forward to going to the other one.
That's awesome. We were talking last night at our family dinner table about like the wood themed restaurant names with Oak and Out of the Woods. So also looking forward to checking them both out. It's really exciting. Any public service announcements, Marie or Jenny, that you want to? No, we're good. How about future agenda items, Kate?
No, nothing from me.
Okay. Select board reports.
I do have one.
Oh, great.
Which is that I went on a field trip last month with Marie and with our town planner, and took a tour of the former Bose facility, which now belongs to the Masters Academy. And just for anybody who doesn't know, this is, I think it's about an 80-acre campus in Stowe, pretty much right on the Bolton line that's been vacant for years. And the Masters Academy is a new boarding school that is coming to the area that focuses on sports and athletics. They are bringing with them the headquarters of U.S. Olympic fencing, which will be one of the programs they offer to their students, including hockey and basketball and golf, which I understand they're partnering with the International to offer golf. So this is getting ready to be a huge, gigantic project that is coming to Bolton's borders with tons of economic opportunity. And I think, as everybody knows, one of the top tier items in the master plan is economic development. And this gives us a really unique opportunity because we are the single biggest route between 495 and this new school that is going to house, I think, eventually up to over 700 students. So this is not a small enterprise. This is going to be hundreds of kids, thousands of parents coming to visit, staff, all sorts of people coming through. I know that there are discussions about how we can maximize the economic opportunities for Bolton, especially on the east side of town. I know that there are discussions at the planning level about whether to look at possibly rezoning some of the industrial space to open up other business opportunities that might both be in keeping with Bolton's character and also supportive of the new school that's coming in. My personal thoughts are parents need nice places to stay when they come visit their kids, and nice places to eat. So, I just want everybody to know that the town is very aware of these developments and is working at a lot of different levels to make sure that we maximize the economic opportunities.
Great, that's a terrific report. Thank you, Kate. I will circle back now because I see Mr. Levin, you have your hand raised. So if you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, so I had to leave and come back because I couldn't get anything working. So I have a very simple request. I was looking at the goals that you set for yourself. And if I look at the goal, first one, which seems to be an important one, it mentions that you're going to be working with the responsible partners. But I'm not sure who the responsible partners are with respect to the master plan.
Sure, I can just respond because that's by way of information. So there's an appendix to the master plan. We can probably put a link to it in the chat, but basically and sorry, Jenny, I can do this later, or Marie, but there's a document, and at the end of the master plan, it goes through each of the goals and sub-goals, and there's a column where it identifies the responsible partners or responsible parties. So our reference in our goal was a reference to the parties that are in that document. So we couldn't spell it all out again in our goals because it's a really long document, but that's what we're referring to. So they're
Okay.
all listed there.
I can find that. Thank you.
Great. Was that it? Okay, great. I see you've muted yourself. Okay, so any other reports, Kate?
That's it.
The next item we have is the approval and execution thank you, Jenny, for the link. The approval and execution of a lease with Wood Partners for use of parking lot at Tower Field. Marie, maybe you could just, for the public's benefit, just briefly explain what this is all about.
Sure, this would be a short-term parking license as Wood Partners is ramping up the number of individuals on site and pushing towards completion. They are also utilizing the parking garages that are being built as part of the project for storage of materials. They seek approximate parking location Monday through Friday for approximately 45 cars from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m., weekdays only. In my conversations with representatives from Wood, we walked the site. I'd urge them to be mindful of the grass as well as, this would enable them to take the cars that they had been parking at Trinity out of their location so that Vacation Bible School would proceed unobstructed. So what I have drafted with some council feedback as well as individual feedback from select board members and representative of Wood is a short-term parking license for a period spanning July 1, 2025 through the end of September. Their planning is that by the mid to end of September, the contractor vehicles could all be parked in the garage on site.
Kate, any questions from you?
No.
Thank you, Marie, for sending all of that in advance and for being proactive. I'm in favor.
You want a motion?
Yeah, of course.
I will make a motion to approve and execute the license with Wood Partners for the use of the parking lot at Tower Field.
Second. Roll call, Kate?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. Then we have executing the amended alcoholic beverage license and common victualler licenses for the International Beverage Service Company, LLC. Any questions, Kate?
No.
Any comments, Marie?
No.
Okay, is there a motion?
I will make a motion to execute the amended alcoholic beverage license and common victualler licenses for the International Beverage Service Company, LLC.
And I will second that. Roll call, Kate.
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. Okay, then we had the item to review the filming permit granted to Left Right Productions and Lone Standard Films at 5 Harvard Road for August 6th, 2025. I saw that we had the printout of that request or that permit request in our packet. We had received an indemnification agreement, workers' comp certificate, an insurance binder. Actually, Marie, a question for you that I simply forgot to ask before tonight's meeting is there any specific action we need to take other than just the fact that we've reviewed it?
Well, as the filming has occurred, it has been approved. Traditionally, we'd like to timelines as well as the select board summer scheduling. At this point, a review and acknowledgement is all that's necessary.
Yeah, it's a bit retroactive. Kate, any questions? Me neither. So
Okay.
acknowledged and reviewed. Sorry, one second. Okay, so the next item was approve the additional $100 in longevity pay for employees with over 20 years of service to the town. And I just want to say I happened to come across a little bit of chatter about this on the Town of Bolton community Facebook page. Generally speaking, I don't wade into that stuff as a select board member because you go down a social media rabbit hole and you have literally no time for anything else in your life. So I don't normally go down these rabbit holes, but I just want to make a comment. There were some questions about the propriety of this, and just want to make it clear. This is the approval of $100 of longevity pay in recognition of over 20 years of service for 5 employees. So this is a $500 expenditure for the town in recognition of 28 years of service for 2 people, 25 years of service for 2 people, and 23 years of service for 1 person. In addition, this longevity pay is reviewed and approved as a line item in our annual budget. And so I am very much in favor of approving this longevity pay for these employees for their many years of service. Kate, I don't know if you have anything that you want to add.
No, thank you for saying that. I saw the same thread of conversation, and I'm glad that you addressed it, Brian. And also, I will make the same comment that I made when we approved this last year, which is that I'm sorry that we're not in a position for this to be a higher amount of money for the people who have dedicated their working careers to the town of Bolton. So they have my gratitude for sticking it out with us for 23, 25, and 28 years respectively.
Okay, with that, is there a motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve the longevity pay for the employees listed in our packet.
And I will second that. Roll call, Kate?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. And I apologize, because I had pulled up a slightly older version of our packet. I think I passed over our need to approve a license for the Bolton Bean. So I apologize for that, but
I don't think I have that.
well, I think it was in the there was an updated agenda, but I was looking at the old packet. Jenny, is there any screen sharing that you want to do to just help clear things up?
I can do it.
Okay, Marie's got it. Great, thank you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so this was, Kate, you might have missed it because it was kind of tucked in at the very, like, in our packet, basically right before the filming license, but there's this uh it's right after the international licensing request. So it's this one for the Bolton Bean. Marie, do you want to just explain what this is doing here?
I defer to Jenny actually on this, who has worked closely with representatives of the Bolton Bean.
So this goes back to August of 2024, when the Bolton Bean came to the select board to request a change of I just lost the terms, the premises, an alteration of the premises to expand to the back portion where they were planning to open up the restaurant, which is now out of the woods. There was a lot of back and forth between the ABCC and the Bolton Bean over the last year. And it has finally come back as of July 18th, just before they opened their doors. So we're delighted for them.
We need a motion to approve the license.
I will make a motion to approve the license for Bolton Bean for their annual wine and malt license.
And I'll second that. Roll call, Kate?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes.
And they
Okay.
may come back at a later date to add a DBA, but the owners of the Bolton Bean were in touch with the ABCC and learned that they're perfectly okay to operate under this liquor license for Bolton Bean at their current location.
Okay. Jenny, is it okay if we defer minutes approval to a?
Absolutely.
So in that case, is there a motion to approve bills/payroll warrants W25-27 and W26-1?
So moved.
Okay, and I will second that. Roll call, Kate?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, and then the last item on our agenda is the continuation of a public hearing on the petition of National Grid and Verizon to install those 4 jointly owned poles at East End Road. So it's 7:02 p.m. I would like to make a motion to officially reopen that public hearing. So do you want to second that, Kate?
Second.
Okay, roll call, Kate.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. I just wanted to briefly kind of recap where I think things stand. So we've got a revised petition and the plan that was received and the abutters were notified. I believe there appears to be a discrepancy between the language of the petition and the plan accompanying the petition, and it has to do with language refers to P25-50, 84 feet north, and then the plan attached shows P25-50 estimated 100 feet north. And so Mr. Case, our tree warden, I believe you were the person who cited that discrepancy.
It was before the last meeting, and it's still not rectified.
Yep. And then in addition, I think we've got some feedback from abutters requesting to move the proposed P24-50 a bit to, I guess, I think it's move it to a break in the stone wall separating 105 East End Road and 115 East End Road. And so I don't know if National Grid or the representative from National Grid has had an opportunity to review the abutters requests. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, where I'm at is we should probably continue this hearing one more time to get a corrected petition and plan that satisfies or addresses the discrepancy that our tree warden identified, but also hopefully one that incorporates the feedback from the abutters. So I don't know if somebody from National Grid could speak to those two things.
Hey, good evening. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you? Thank you.
Good. So I wanted to first and foremost start off with the revised plan that was submitted, because I submitted the updated distance, which we wheeled it out and got as accurate a measurement as possible, as 100 feet from existing P25 to 2550, the proposed location. So I don't know what that description is coming through, but on the revised actual sketch, and it should have come through on
So
the verbiage as well, with the down guy on 2550.
So the sketch that was submitted correctly indicates the increased distance, but the language of the hearing notice that came with that sketch still has the old language, and that's where the hearing notice comes from. So both places in the package are not in sync is the problem.
It's still stating 84 feet north of pole 25.
Okay. So that must not have gotten relayed correctly, because I made those changes and submitted them. So that must not have carried through. So that being said, as far as abutters, that 16 feet, I don't know if that's, what that really changes as far as, you guys, your decision on this, but it still lies on the same property. Really nothing beyond that 16-foot measurement is going to change anything. So, I understand that we want everything to line up and be presented properly, but in all reality, again, the abutters don't change. The span distances might change plus or minus 15 feet. So then on the pole 2450, I was never aware that that pole location was going to be an issue. That never made it back to me. So I am missing what the concerns were on that location.
I think we talked about it at the last hearing in some detail, as I recall.
I don't have anything on my notes, but if we could repeat what the challenges were on that.
I think, do we want to have Mr. Jagodnik explain that, or and Jenny, I don't know if there's any imagery that would be helpful to show while he's speaking, but hi, Mr. Jagodnik.
Good evening. Yeah, last time I proposed a solution that would help ameliorate our concerns here at 115 East End Road, because we're taking on two new poles. We have one that's been there for many years, P25, and generally I don't see the need for that, but Mr. Marshall explained it, and what I want to, oh, there's the diagram. Okay, yeah. So I guess I can't point to this. I'm sorry, but P25. I measured it myself. Actually, I measured using a rolling wheel and also a tape in both directions, and came up with about 100 feet between P25 and P2550. So that raised the question as to why someone told us last time that the other pole, P2450, had to be exactly halfway in between the neighboring pole at 105 and our pole. So But the example that you've given, you already have 100-foot span, so why can't that be done yet again safely to the south?
Mr. Marshall, are you understanding the comment or the request here? I don't know if you can see the graphic.
Yeah, right at the top, it says move 6 feet. That's the minimum that would be acceptable to us is to move P24-50 6 feet to the south, in which case it would line up with an opening in the stone wall. I would like to move it even further, but I understand your concern. And, if you could move it another 6 feet, that would be even better.
Yeah, and again, these poles are all installed very deliberately. So we can't go moving every single pole.
Well, I'm just asking to move one.
Right. No, I understand that, but one of the 4 that we've proposed, when we've already had to move one 25-50 to better accommodate the road and how things are constructed in the field existing. So that one has to stay there. The 100-foot from 25, existing 25, it has to be installed there. These are deliberately engineered in such a way to ensure future reliability, access, ease of maintenance for our crews and their safety. So these are all deliberately placed.
Yeah, I guess I'm just having a hard time understanding. I did go to Mr. Jagodnik's property and I walked it with him, so I was able to see what his concern was. And I'd like to hear from you. I would like to hear from you one way or another, whether it is or is not physically possible to move that pole 6 feet to accommodate his property lines.
Again, this is done by our design engineering department, and a lot of thought goes into how these are installed. So they don't just arbitrarily pick a location, and the pole won't go in the exact same, or I'm sorry, yeah, this pole is going to needs to be installed in that location where it's been staked, measured, pre-marked, etc.
I don't
Have
understand
you
why.
spoken with your design people about this request, sir?
Yes, we've been back and forth. As you know, this is the 3rd time returning, so everything's been gone over and firmed up.
But you just said that you weren't aware of Mr. Jagodnik's 6-foot request. So how did you discuss that with your design people?
Well, because it's been proposed in this way. So they don't arbitrarily pick locations for this. So it was selected to go there.
I understand the
it.
reason.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jagodnik. I understand that they selected it. What I'm not hearing from you is that you've gone back to them and relayed the concern that our resident and that we are expressing.
Yeah, on this specific poll, as well as the other one, it was reviewed for their location. Everything, again, was wheeled out, measurements corrected, and confirmed as to why they're there and their location and mark out.
I'm sorry, you have not addressed my concern at all.
Mine either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just don't follow.
So, here's where I'm at, and Kate, jump in if you have any thoughts you'd want to add. Given the sort of technical mismatch that we talked about earlier, between the plan and the other documentation that was submitted, and this issue, which I agree doesn't seem like it has been discussed with the design folks, I think we should continue this one more time. I'd be open to meeting earlier if that would be helpful. Like meeting sooner than we were otherwise planning to, but it really seems like you ought to bring this specific 6-foot move request back to the designers so that we can understand what the actual reason is that can't be accommodated, because I haven't heard one.
And my other comment on it is that this is the town of Bolton's right of way, and you're asking to use our property. And we are bringing a concern that we have and that one of our residents has. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you should be prepared to address why or why not, why that can or cannot be accommodated from a technical perspective. The fact that somebody's been out there and measured it in the past is not an answer as to why it cannot be moved 6 feet to accommodate Mr. Jagodnik.
You're right, and just to make it clear on my end, kind of twofold. This specific location I haven't been back out to in quite some time, so I don't have the R for this pole. I remember more so what 2550 is. So just going off of my existing memory there, 2450, which is the one that he's talking about moving here. I'm guess I'm maybe not seeing from his perspective what that even changes. But what I do recall is the other pole needing to be moved to accommodate the end of a stone wall on his end. Now, if this is the pole that I'm recalling, it's the one adjacent to his mailbox in end of driveway. Is that correct?
No, he's talking about pole 2450 and moving it 6 feet to the south.
Right.
Yeah.
No, there's another concern. A neighbor to the north, Donald Baum, may want to say a few words here about his concern on P2550.
I'm not seeing anybody trying to make a comment on that at this point, so.
I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I got a couple concerns about the guy wires. East End Road is a 3-rod road, which means it's only 33 feet wide. And if you're putting down a 6-foot guy wire, it seems to me that the guy lines are coming into private property. Is one question. And the other question I have is, I know how cooperative Verizon is not about moving things off of poles. So I want some assurance that we're not going to end up with a whole bunch of short poles down the length of East End Road to accommodate Verizon and Comcast for a number of years, like there are in many, many places throughout the town of Bolton.
Yeah, I'll address your first comment as far as the guy wires and the public right of way. We are going to use what's called a sidewalk guide to be within the public right of way. We've checked with our real estate department. So just like the other ones that have been proposed, I believe the stub pole 1384 and pole 8 further down the road will lie in the public right of way. As far as the other poles, again, we are National Grid. We are not Verizon, so I don't represent Verizon. If you guys have issues with Verizon, that will have to be taken up with Verizon. So I can't give you any assurance for the actions of them, but I know that that's always a pain point within communities, especially at these petitions.
Okay, so there's I'm hearing two things that we would like ideally addressed and resolved between now and the next time. One is resolving the discrepancy between the language of the petition and what's on the plan with respect to P25-50. And then the second is we would like to understand why the 6-foot move for P24-50 is not feasible from a design and engineering perspective. Kate, any other things to add to that?
No, I think that's fair.
Okay. So I guess I'm turning to you, Jenny, in terms of a date.
Are you looking for a date earlier than August 21st?
Please, no.
Okay. So probably August 21st.
Okay. All right, so we need a motion to continue to August 21st.
I will make a motion to continue this public hearing until August 21st at, do we need a time?
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Second, roll call, Kate.
Yes.
I'm a yes. And please, let's try to get this resolved on the 21st. Okay. With that, I don't think we have any other select board business to attend to this evening.
I'm sorry, I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but I would also like to talk about poll 1384.
Well, technically, we've continued the public hearing already. I didn't realize that there was anybody else who wanted to comment. So
I'm sorry, I emailed, so I wasn't notified of this. I found out because there was a poll on my property. I've looked at the listings of the abutters listings, and I wasn't on it. The previous owner was on it, so I think that's why I wasn't given notification or due notification. I've also emailed the town and talked to several people. So I'm not sure, how we need to address it, but I would like to address my concerns with the poll that's being moved onto my abutting property.
Sure. Well, since we have Mr. Marshall here, I guess, Marie, do we need to just briefly reopen the public hearing so we can take this comment? So, Kate, let's reopen it briefly.
I will make a motion to reopen the public hearing.
Second.
Thank you for accommodating.
Yep. Roll call, Kate.
Yes.
And I'm a yes as well. Okay, let's try to really make this clear for Mr. Marshall so that he understands the nature of the concern.
Yes, yeah. I don't know if it would be helpful to pull up a diagram, but there's so my property is 58 East End. So I'm Ryan Vincent. My property is 58 East End Road in Bolton. The pole is 1384. So this is currently on East End, and it would be the proposal is to move it onto the corner of East End and Sugar Road. And I have some concerns with the moving of that pole.
We've talked about this before. They're not moving a pole, they're adding a pole. This is a support pole for pole 13, which is across the street. So it would be a pole. The proposed pole 1384 is a guide pole with an anchor to support pole 13 across the road.
Oh, with the 6-foot anchor.
That is correct.
Okay. Well, I suppose that the nature of the pole is not necessarily my concern. My concern is the placement of the pole and the ramifications of that.
What, Mr. Case, what am I missing though? Didn't you just say the pole's not moving?
No, pole 13 across the street is not moving. The proposed pole is P13-84, which would be essentially a guy pole for pole 13. If you actually look at pole 13, it's being pulled in many different directions, and it needs to be supported somehow. So their proposed plan shows that is a guy pole with an anchor, and there'll be an overhead cable going from that pole to pole 13.
Okay. So, Mr. Vincent, you just don't want the pole at all?
Yes, fundamentally, my objection is to having the pole located there. So it's in close approximation to my property, which is a historical home built in 1830. It is next to an existing stone wall. And I have a concern about the removal of existing vegetation that currently provides natural screening and noise mitigation from the adjacent intersection, and that the alteration would materially affect both the privacy and acoustic environment of our property, and would have a corresponding negative impact on the property value.
There's no tree trimming involved and beyond removing of that existing tree that was there. So it's just going to be the installation of a pole should have no impact whatsoever on noise at all. On top of that, there won't be any easement or anything on your property to reflect any type of a change. This would just be in the public right of way, not on your property.
Kate?
Is there any possibility of moving it anywhere else or?
No.
That's a very, excuse me, that's a very tight intersection. The recently a large ash tree was removed, but that pole 13, you need to have a certain angle of pole or, and Colton and I have talked about this numerous times in the town easement is very narrow right in that section as well. And he assures us that the pole and a guy can all fall within the public right of way and still be far enough off the road so that it's not an issue with snow removal or school buses or anything like that.
Yeah, so if I'm understanding Mr. Case, there aren't a ton of options for where this pole could be located, but it does sound like it's a necessary pole in order to support P13.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, I think, go ahead, Mr. Jagodnik, with your comment.
Oh, I just had a additional question while we're still convened here. I was told that all the poles are going to be taller than the old ones, and they're all going to be replaced. All the existing poles are going to be replaced. Is that true? Is that going to happen at the same time or later?
Yeah, they're all going to be replaced.
The same time?
Yes.
Okay. Want to try to wrap this up. So I don't think necessarily there is a way to change the 13-84 plan. And I think it's just a reality that all of us have to deal with potential poles on or near our property, including in the right of way. Okay, I don't know if you have any comments.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to be able to provide some relief, Mr. Vincent, but I'm not sure that this is a situation where we have a whole lot of ability to try and achieve a better result for you.
Okay. I mean, the pole was not there when I purchased the property less than a year ago. So
I understand, but it's
little-
town
little
property
disappointed
that
with
it's
the
going
outcome.
on.
And so yeah, I'll look at other options if I need to. Thank you.
Okay. So I just want to be clear, we're going to move to continue this to August 21st again. I just want to make sure there are no other comments tonight. Okay. So motion to close the hearing, Kate?
I will make a motion to continue the hearing to August 21st at 7 p.m.
And I'll second that. Roll call, Kate?
Yes.
I'm also a yes.
And now I will make a motion to adjourn.
And I will second that.
Good
Roll
night,
call.
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Good
very
night.
much. Roll call, Kate?
Yes.
I'm also a yes. Okay, thanks, everybody. Good night.
Good night, everyone.